Good evening, and welcome to Third Church of Christ Scientist of New York City. Let's begin with singing hymn number 73. I'll read the second verse. God is mind, and holy thought is sending. Man, his image, hears his voice. Every heart may understand his message, in his kindness may rejoice. Lo, he speaks all condemnation ending, every true desire with love's will blending. Losing self in him, we find joy, health, hope for all mankind. Number 73. I'll read from the Bible and from Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. The subject of this evening's readings is identity. The Bible. Genesis. God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Exodus. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land into a good land and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Now, therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me. And I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppress them. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto God, Who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and thus this shall be a token unto thee that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. And God said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, The Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God. And ye shall know that I am the Lord your God, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will bring you in unto the land concerning the which I did swear to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And I will give it you for an inheritance, for I am the Lord. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. John. Then answered Jesus and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. For the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that himself doeth. And he will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. I can of mine own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not mine own will, but the will of the Father which hath sent me. Philippians. I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. John. I and my Father are one. Luke. He spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves that they were righteous, and despised others. 2 men went up into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee, and the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself: God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I fast twice in the week. I give tithes of all I possess. And the publican, standing afar off, would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other, for every one that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. And they brought unto him also infants, that he would touch them. But when his disciples saw it, they rebuked them. But Jesus called them unto him, and said, Suffer little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for of such is the kingdom of God. Verily I say unto you, whosoever shall not receive the kingdom of God as a little child shall in no wise enter therein. And a certain ruler asked him, saying, Good master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus said unto him, Why callest thou me good? None is good, save one, that is, God. Thou knowest the commandments: do not commit adultery, do not kill, do not steal, do not bear false witness, honor thy father and thy mother. And he said, All these have I kept from my youth up. Now when Jesus heard these things, he said unto him, Yet lackest thou one thing. Sell all that thou hast, and distribute unto the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven. And come, follow me. And when he heard this, he was very sorrowful, for he was very rich. And when Jesus saw that he was very sorrowful, he said, How hardly shall they that have riches enter into the kingdom of God? For it is easier for a camel to go through a needle's eye than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. And they that heard it said, Who then can be saved? And he said, The things which are impossible with men are possible with God. Then Peter said, Lo, we have left all and followed thee. And he said unto them, Verily I say unto you, there is no man that hath left house or parents or brethren or wife or children for the kingdom of God's sake, who shall not receive manifold more in this present time, and in the world to come life everlasting. Acts. Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, Ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things ye are too superstitious. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription, To the unknown God. Whom therefore ye ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands, neither is worshipped with men's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things, and hath made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed, and the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. Galatians. Ye are all the children of God by faith in Christ Jesus. For as many of you as have been baptized into Christ have put on Christ. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus. And if ye be Christ's, then are ye Abraham's seed, and heirs according to the promise. I'll now read correlative passages from the Christian Science textbook, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, by Mary Baker Eddy. Identity is the reflection of spirit, the reflection in multifarious forms of the living principle, love. Soul is the substance, life, and intelligence of man, which is individualized, but not in matter. I, or ego, divine principle, spirit, soul, incorporeal, unerring, immortal, and eternal mind. There is but one I, or us, but one divine principle, or mind, governing all existence. Man and woman, unchanged forever in their individual characters, even as numbers which never blend with each other, though they are governed by one principle. All the objects of God's creation reflect one mind, and whatever reflects not this one mind is false and erroneous. Even the belief that life, substance, and intelligence are both mental and material. I am God, incorporeal and eternal mind, divine principle, the only ego. Mind, the only I or us, the only spirit, soul, divine principle, substance, life, truth, love, the one God. Not that which is not that which is in man, but the divine principle or God, of whom man is the full and perfect expression. Deity, which outlines, but is not outlined. Moses declared, as Jehovah's first command of the 10, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." But behold the zeal of belief to establish the opposite, error, of many minds. The argument of the serpent in the allegory, "Ye shall be as gods," urges through every avenue the belief that soul is in body, and that infinite spirit and life is in finite forms. Rightly understood, instead of possessing a sentient material form, man has a sensationless body, and God, the soul of man and of all existence, being perpetual in his own individuality, harmony, and immortality, imparts and perpetuates these qualities in man through mind, not matter. Error presupposes man to be both mind and matter. Divine science contradicts the corporeal senses, rebukes mortal belief, and asks, what is the ego, whence its origin, and what its destiny? The ego man is the reflection of the ego God. The ego man is the image and likeness of perfect mind, spirit, divine principle. The one ego, the one mind or spirit, called God, is infinite individuality, which supplies all form and comeliness, and which reflects reality and divinity in individual spiritual man and things. Jesus urged the commandment, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me," which may be rendered, "Thou shalt have no belief of life as mortal. Thou shalt not know evil, for there is one life, even God, good." Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Exodus 23. The first commandment is my favorite text. It demonstrates Christian Science. It inculcates the triunity of God, spirit, mind. It signifies that man shall have no other spirit or mind but God, eternal good, and that all men shall have one mind. The divine principle of the first commandment bases the science of being, by which man demonstrates health, holiness, and life eternal. One infinite God, good, unifies men and nations, constitutes the brotherhood of man, ends wars, fulfills the scripture, love thy neighbor as thyself, annihilates pagan and Christian idolatry, whatever is wrong in social, civil, criminal, political, and religious codes, equalizes the sexes, annuls the curse on man, and leaves nothing that can sin, suffer, be punished, or destroyed. With a single command, mind had made man both male and female. How then could a material organization become the basis of man? How could the non-intelligent become the medium of mind, and error be the enunciator of truth? Matter is not the reflection of spirit, yet God is reflected in all his creation. Man is never God, but spiritual man, made in God's likeness, reflects God. In this scientific reflection, the ego and the Father are inseparable. The divine mind maintains all identities, from a blade of grass to a star, as distinct and eternal. The questions are, what are God's identities? What is soul? Does life or soul exist in the thing formed? Nothing is real and eternal. Nothing is spirit, but God and his idea. Evil has no reality. It is neither person, place, nor thing, but is simply a belief, an illusion of material sense. The identity or idea of all reality continues forever. But spirit, or the divine principle of all, is not in spirit's formations. Soul is synonymous with spirit, God, the creative, governing, infinite principle outside of finite form, which forms only reflect. Mortal existence is a dream. Mortal existence has no real entity, but saith, it is I. Spirit is the ego, which never dreams, but understands all things, which never errs, and is ever conscious, which never believes, but knows, which is never born and never dies. Spiritual man is the likeness of this ego. Man is not God, but like a ray of light which comes from the sun, man, the outcome of God, reflects God. Mortal body and mind are one, and that one is called man, but a mortal is not man, for man is immortal. A mortal may be weary or pained, enjoy or suffer, according to the dream he entertains in sleep. When that dream vanishes, the mortal finds himself experiencing none of these dream sensations. To the observer, the body lies listless, undisturbed, and sensationless, and the mind seems to be absent. Now I ask, is there any more reality in the waking dream of mortal existence than in the sleeping dream? There cannot be, since whatever appears to be a mortal man is a mortal dream. Take away the mortal mind, and matter has no more sense as a man than it has as a tree. But the spiritual, real man is immortal. The ego is deathless and limitless, for limits would imply and impose ignorance. Mind is the I am, or infinity. Mind never enters the finite. Intelligence never passes into non intelligence or matter. Good never enters into evil. The unlimited into the limited, the eternal into the temporal, nor the immortal into mortality. The divine ego, or individuality, is reflected in all spiritual individuality, from the infinitesimal to the infinite. Immortal man was and is God's image or idea, even the infinite expression of infinite mind. And immortal man is coexistent and co-eternal with that mind. He has been forever in the eternal mind, God. But infinite mind can never be in man, but is reflected by man. The spiritual man's consciousness and individuality are reflections of God. They are the emanations of Him who is life, truth, and love. Immortal man is not and never was material, but always spiritual and eternal. The material body and mind are temporal, but the real man is spiritual and eternal. The identity of the real man is not lost, but found through this explanation. For the conscious infinitude of existence and of all identity is thereby discerned and remains unchanged. It is impossible that man should lose aught that is real when God is all and eternally his. The notion that mind is in matter, and that the so-called pleasures and pains, the birth, sin, sickness, and death of matter are real, is a mortal belief, and this belief is all that will ever be lost. Man is idea, the image of love. He is not physique. He is the compound idea of God, including all right ideas, the generic term for all that reflects God's image and likeness, the conscious identity of being as found in science, in which man is the reflection of God or mind and therefore is eternal, that which has no separate mind from God, that which has not a single quality underived from deity, that which possesses no life, intelligence, nor creative power of his own, but reflects spiritually all that belongs to his Maker. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." Mortal mind would transform the spiritual into the material, and then recover man's original self in order to escape from the mortality of this error. Mortals are not like immortals, created in God's own image, but infinite spirit, being all. Mortal consciousness will at last yield to the scientific fact and disappear, and the real sense of being, perfect and forever intact, will appear. Let's pray together in silence for a few moments, and then pray aloud together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Let's sing hymn number 109, 109. Here, O God, thy healing presence lifts our thoughts from self and sin, fills with light their hidden places when thy love is welcomed in. Here, thy tender, sweet persuasions turn us home to heavenly ways, while our hearts, unsealed, adoring, pour the fragrance of thy praise. Number 109. This church is a branch of the Mother Church, the First Church of Christ Scientist in Boston, Massachusetts. We hold Sunday services at 11 a.m. and Wednesday testimony meetings at 7:30 p.m. We also have services in Spanish, Sundays at 1 p.m. and Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. All services are held online and in person, and all are welcome. Third Church offers Sunday school classes online and in person for children and teens. These free one-hour classes are available each Sunday. At Sunday school, students learn how much God loves them and cares for them. They also learn about the Bible characters and lessons and the healing power of prayer. For more information on times and classes, please send us an email, thirdchurch@thirdchurchnyc.com. Third Church maintains a reading room on the lower level of this building. The reading room provides a quiet place for prayer and study, and all are welcome. Here you may purchase books and recordings on Christian Science. The Reading Room has the latest issues of the Christian Science Monitor, an award-winning international news weekly available to read or purchase. Reading Room hours are Monday through Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. Replays of this church's Easter talk, titled Feeling Genuine Joy in Difficult Times by Christy Hanslick, CS, are available in both English and Spanish on our website, thirdchurchnyc.com. Have you ever wished that Jesus were here today to heal? Lyle Young, CSB, a member of the Christian Science Board of Lectureship, will discuss some of the ideas that Jesus used to heal the sick. Mr. Young's talk is titled, Christian Science, a High Standard of Care. To learn how you can experience God's practical healing care, come to Third Church of Christ Scientist, this church, located at Park Avenue and 63rd Street in New York City, on this coming Saturday, August 26th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. There will be free child care with activities for children. Lyle Young will broadcast his talk in person from Canada. The program will begin at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time with organ music by Todd Peters and inspirational vocal solos by Jenny Lynn Stewart. There will be a live, simultaneous Spanish translation of the talk. Online viewing and access by conference phone will also be available. Please check our website, thirdchurchnyc.com, for details. We invite you to join us this coming Saturday, August 26th, starting at 7:15 p.m. This meeting is now open for all to share experiences of healing and spiritual insights that prove God's ever-presence and power in their lives. If you're listening by telephone and would like to speak, press *6 and wait until your line is unmuted. Please speak directly into the microphone of your phone. Your message will be easier to hear if you do not use the speaker function. If you're watching via Zoom, you can choose the raise your hand icon or unmute yourself and speak.
Thank you for your readings. Lots to think about and digest. But the concept that I think I'll carry with me tonight is emanation, the definition of which is flowing out of or outflow. It releases, I think, a lot of burden and a lot of work and argument in Christian Science to know that true consciousness is flowing out of God, and that also correlates with the Son can do nothing of himself but what he seeth the Father do. And sometimes I have found that a little bit difficult because it was Jesus who said that. And I thought, well, okay, easy for him, not always so easy for me. But the concept of emanation, the reality of emanation, I like. I had a small healing several weeks ago after church as I was leaving to go across town. Some of the journey by the MTA and some of it by walking. I just felt my whole body sort of stiff and tired, and it certainly didn't prohibit movement, but I just sort of was sore, and I didn't really know why that was. And the first thing that came to me, of course, was that if I had called a practitioner, which I didn't do, but if I had called a practitioner, he or she would have said, oh, that's malpractice against the Christian Science Service. So I gave that a little bit of thought. But I wanted to keep my thinking very, very simple. I'd been up for many, many hours. I get up very early on Sunday morning, and I didn't feel I had the mental energy to do much more than to ask myself, is God causing this? And the answer has got to be, even if one has had one single healing in Christian Science, the answer has got to be, no, God is not causing this. And so several times, more than several times probably, fairly consistently, for the next 45 minutes or hour or so, as I was making my way back home, and the suggestion came to me that I was sort of moving with not as much ease as I might, I would just ask myself, well, is God causing this? This has no source, it has no substance, it has no reality, it doesn't belong to me. And I just very simply worked, and happily actually, worked that way. And by the time I got home, the situation was greatly improved. And after I had unpacked my Zabar shopping and ate my late lunch, all symptoms were absolutely gone and didn't return. So I was very grateful that it was, albeit minor, it was a solid definition, a solid demonstration of holding to the truth of God's creative and causal power. Thank you for the reading.
Thank you.
Thank you for your readings. I'm very grateful this evening for the harmonious unfoldment of a meeting that was held here in the church last Saturday for an association of a teacher of Christian Science. Christian Scientists may apply for instruction in Christian Science from a certified teacher, a teacher that's been qualified at the Mother Church. And it's a 2-week course of instruction based on the Bible, of course, and the writings of Mary Baker Eddy. And it has the intention to teach healers, to teach in that same healing discipline that Christ exhibited. It's God that does the healing, and it is the prayer, the demonstration of the truth of the God's presence and power and our oneness with God, as your readings brought out this evening. What I'm particularly grateful for is how the various members of the committee, the group that was responsible for putting it on, worked together, and that it worked so harmoniously, and that this church has the experience in presenting Christian Science and bringing forth the ideas both to people that come into the church, in-person presence, and also reaching them online in various ways that have become possible in the last 20, 30 years. But for broadcasting and streaming, we got so many good comments from the participants that were listening remotely, and the skills that were brought to bear by the staff and the workers of this church was greatly appreciated, and it helped to bring out the meaning and not have the distractions of electronic hullabaloo. It just worked. It just worked well. When I was going through class instruction with my teacher, we focused on identity, and he asked us to do a paper on identity, and my frame of reference was math training, that the equal sign was said that both sides of the equation had the same value, but an identity was something stronger, that it was always the same. So that was one thing. Of course, the idea of spiritual identity, who we are and what our individuality is can be expressed best and through spiritual terms. That our spiritual identity is the reflection of God, and that God being immortal, that expression is immortal. Our teacher would say that a clear sense of identity is really foundational to the practice of Christian Science. It's very helpful, useful, necessary, and healing to know that man is God's reflection, that God is perfect, God is a loving God. There's no evil in God, and there is no power apart from God. And that was the topic of the meeting on Saturday, was the first commandment, the meaning and the application of "Thou shalt have no other gods before me," which was brought out again this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. There's still time for one more testimony, which we would welcome.
Take advantage of the fact that I'm here twice in 2 weeks. Thank you for the readings. I'm glad I made most of them. Ever grateful for Christian Science, always, for its ever applicable truths in my daily life, in our daily lives, to maintain harmony, to right wrongs, restore harmony, restore joy, dispel fear. Back in February, I had an incident on a ski hill, and I actually wasn't skiing, but I was coming off of a chairlift, and I allowed somebody to go in front of me, and before I knew it, I was sliding down doing sideways splits because my skis had crossed behind me. And of course, in a matter of seconds, I found myself having to sit down in order to stop. And at that point, the pain that went through my legs was quite impressive, to say the least. And my son, who was about 20 yards to my right, looked over and said, "Mother, get up. We have to ski down." And I said, if I could, I would. And I couldn't. So we waited a bit. I had asked my partner to please text our practitioner, and she wasn't able to be reached right away. However, the ski patrol had to take me down on the toboggan. So that was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But it was quite beautiful looking up. I prayed the whole way. I just saw God's allness. I saw the magnificence of the sky and the through the pain. And they have to take you to emergency. This is the hospital, the ski rules. So there I am in emergency, and I am tearing from the pain and yada, yada. Anyway, the long and the short of it is I had to get an MRI, and the experts, and they are world-renowned expert orthopedic surgeons, had read this MRI and declared that my tibial, something I didn't even know I had, tibial plateau, was fractured, and it was displaced almost 4 millimeters. And if I didn't have surgery within 2 weeks, I could be knock-kneed, I could have to have a knee replacement in a year, all the terrible things that they would say. I was leaving the next day to go back to New York and then to Montreal. I made an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon in Montreal. But at that time, the most important part is my practitioner did get back to me a few days later. And she said that she was unable to take the case because of her other obligations. She's actually first reader at Mother Church in Boston. But she said, "Hi there. You are the apple of God's eye, and that has not changed, on or off the slope." I'm not able to take individual cases as much these days with the work, but none of that changes your relationship with your Father, Mother, God, who is right there holding you safe, loving and caring for you. Much love, Mimi. Well, I held on to that, and I held on to the truth, and I had everyone praying. And fast forward, it was now 2.5 weeks past the incident, and they gave me another type of CT scan. And this surgeon looked at me and said, "You don't need surgery." And I said, "But they said." He said, "Nope. It's not just my opinion, it's the opinion of 5 other people, and it's not even displaced 2 millimeters." Well, I find it very difficult to believe that the experts in Vail misread a very detailed x-ray. And within those 2 weeks, I absolutely believe that the restoration of my knee was taking place through the acknowledgement that I am spirit and not matter, that is my true substance. And that's what I held to the entire time. And I still held through. The prognosis was you wouldn't be able to walk without a limp before 9 to 12 months. Well, it's 6 months, and 2 months ago I was walking fine. What I also love about Christian Science is we can only demonstrate to the level of our understanding, and there is no judgment, there is no guilt. There is some criticism from other people that say, "Oh, you Christian Scientists don't believe in the medical." No, absolutely not. It's just not our first choice. And it's our last resort, not our first resort. And I am so grateful for Christian Science and for Mrs. Eddy and all the teachings, the Sentinel, the magazines, the online audio. All of it are wonderful, and the church services are wonderful reminders of the importance of watching our thought and keeping it high. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for your testimonies, your presence and your prayers and your insights. Let's conclude the meeting by singing hymn number 416, 416. Be true and list the voice within. Be true unto thy high ideal, thy perfect self that knows no sin, that self that is the only real. Number 416.